So these are the top 8 Google Pixel 8 Pro cases on Amazon. So let's see which one is going to be the best.
I'll be reviewing the top 8 Google Pixel 8 Pro cases, with 6 of the 8 cases around $20 or less. And they include the Otterbox Symmetry, Caseology Nano Pop, HUMIXX Clear, Torras Magnetic Guardian, Tauri Clear, Oterkin Clear, Casology Capella, and the Spigen Ultra Hybrid. So I'll be looking at factors including grip, features, protection, design, and price. The big news is that the Google Pixel 8 Pro has a big flat screen now. So instead of a more curved display that you got with the Google Pixel 7 Pro, and it comes with that triple lens camera system, which has to be protected because it's massive. So now the 8 Pro cases have been updated much more than, in my opinion, than the 7 Pro cases were. And then not a lot of it has related to MagSafe though. So MagSafe options for non-Apple phones have not been real prevalent yet, but the magnets are definitely as good as the newest MagSafe iPhone cases. And a lot of our phones, for Google users out there, our design language for our cell phones really comes down to, do we want it more rounded or more rectangular? This time around, we're getting more rounded options, so I've got you covered, so let's take a look. The first case we're going to talk about is going to be on the Otterbox Symmetry Clear case, because I think this is a case that a lot of us will already have experience with. And if you're looking at the Symmetry case, it's going to be the most expensive by far in our review. This case MSRP is $49.95. Most of the cases here in our review are going to be closer to $20, maybe even $15. The listed weight is 46.78 grams, but your tested weight is about 45.6 grams. It has 3x military grade drop protection, or about 30 feet, and the materials are going to be with the polycarbonate back and the synthetic rubber sides. And once you pick this case up, you'll notice that it feels very protective, and that's because the back is stiff, but the sides are actually made of that synthetic rubber, which is something different from most cases you find today. And that synthetic rubber is not only going to be thicker, but also grippier, and it gives that little flexibility so it's easier to place your phone inside and outside of the case. The camera bump is going to be very protected because of how raised it is, and it also protects the sides. You'll notice that on the bumper though, it is not going to be completely crystal clear. It has a kind of a frosted look. That also extends into just about 10-20% inside of the camera bump material. You'll also notice that it is going to be the thickest by far on the corners as well as on the top and bottom of your Pixel 8 Pro, which gives you the best overall drop protection if you're dropping it even on the corners. The buttons are clicky and it's pretty good at hiding fingerprints. Otterbox did a really good job here with their updated materials for the Pixel 8 Pro, and I can't feel a real complaint about it except for the price. I did wish it was about $20, $30, but at $50, and if you were to get this with MagSafe, it might even be $60. That's a lot of money for a cell phone case. This is the Caseology Nano Pop Silicone case, and it looks good. It does have the Caseology logo in the center back, and you can see that it comes with the 10-foot drop protection. It uses their patented airspace tech on the corners, just like the other Caseology cases. It comes in weighing 42 grams. It has that one-piece design with the camera cutout for the camera bump, and the material is going to be silicone. It feels good in the hand. I still prefer the Google Pro case though, because that silicone case is going to be a little bit more soft touch with the microfiber liner. Here the Nano Pop is going to be more protective though, because you have that precise cutout for the camera bump, so the camera bump is completely protected except for the lenses and the sensors. The buttons are going to be clicky and easy to find here. However, it's not going to be the most grippy material. I would say that this is actually one of the more slippery silicone cases you can get. Overall, it's still a solid case. It's on the heavier side considering it doesn't come with MagSafe, and it has that two-tone design, so that can also feel more toy-like or less mature than on the Google Pro case. But overall, it's still an okay case. I wish it had better screen protection though, because you really get less than 1 millimeter screen protection on all sides if you're using the Caseology Nano Pop. This is the HUMIXX Clear case, and even though I'm seeing this for $29.99 right now and I bought it for that price, I'm imagining that this is going to be under $20 within about a week or two of launch, just because that's what HUMIXX normally prices at. Now this has 14-foot drop protection. However, I don't know if that's going to be as accurate as you would hope, because the screen protection could be better. It has the upgraded magnet that is on par with the HUMIXX magnets that they use for the iPhone 15 Pro Max, so very strong here. It is definitely more crystal and less blue than the previous HUMIXX cases you might have used, and it's very good with fingerprints. Now let's talk about the overall case. It has a 1mm screen lip and a 2mm camera raise lip. So that means that it's going to be pretty good at protecting the camera, but it's going to be so so at protecting your screen. At least in my opinion, I do wish that the material was just a little bit thicker, and that's because the material itself now, because it's been updated, is a little bit more squishy. And because it's squishy and because of these raised corners of, or at least the slope corners of your Pixel 8 Pro, it's going to feel a little bit more squishy as well when you squeeze your phone. So I do wish that they had made it a little bit taller just so that it would park, or at least the phone itself would park inside of the case better. The camera cutout is very simple, but because it's raised, it's still going to be pretty protective here. And there's no like real snags or sharp edges. So overall, it's just an okay case. I feel like the lack of screen protection and that kind of squishy grip that it has on the sides just makes it more of just an okay case for me. This is the Torras Magnetic Guardian case, and we've reviewed this case for other phones, including the 7, but I think on the 8 Pro, it really does work finally. So it has that 12-foot drop protection, it has the upgraded magnet, and Torras has a really good MagSafe magnet here. It has the personalized buttons, so they're going to be clicky, and you could change the color if you want. The overall weight is going to be very light at 36 grams, and it's just about 0.76 millimeters thick. The back cover is not clear though, so you have to keep that in mind. You're not going to see the natural beauty of your phone. The buttons feel clicky, and the buttons actually feel pretty smooth, even if you change the cutout to a different color. The screen protection could definitely be better though, because it is going to be close to about 1 millimeter, maybe 0.76 millimeters in terms of height raised on the lip. And I do think because the screen is the most expensive part, I always like to have a little bit more protection there. So you might want to add a screen protector, but it's good to see that the MagSafe magnets that are so much more powerful have finally come to the Google Pixel. This is the Tauri Clear case and is clearly trying to be the best value in terms of cases for your Google Pixel 8 Pro. And that's because it comes with 2 screen and 2 camera protectors. It comes with that 10-foot drop protection, and it is overall, it's pretty well built. The only thing is that the micro dotting pattern is going to be a little bit irregular. So the micro dotting pattern is wider on the back piece than on the bumper piece. And the button cutouts are very large, they're very easy to find, as well as they're very clicky. Now, in terms of fingerprints, I ran my fingers on it. It is going to get more fingerprints than some of the other cases that we reviewed. However, it's not a real issue because they're still better than the cases you saw in 2022. The bumpers are solid, but they do get squishy where the buttons are, so it's going to feel like, okay, it's stiff, and then when you're on the buttons, it's a little bit squishy. But overall, I think it is a good value, and I wouldn't be upset at using this case. I would be quite interested, though, to see if it does yellow or not. In terms of overall weight, it weighs 36 grams, so it's just in the middle of the pack. So basically, this is a middle of the road cover case for your Google Pixel 8 Pro. This is the Oterkin clear case, and it's a pretty standard case except when you consider the price, because this case is MSRP for $13.99. It has a 1mm screen guard and a 2.5mm raised camera bezel. What that means is that there is more material and it is thicker on the corners of the case and around the camera bump than it is around the bumper as well as the back. Even though it's a 2-piece design, there's no drop in elevation between the back cover and the bumper, so it feels good in the hand. It is very grippy, it's not slippery. This is still made out of that anti-slip TPU material we're seeing so popular in a lot of cases these days. It is crystal clear because there's no micro dotting, but let's be honest, I really like 2 features here. I like the price and I like the buttons, because the buttons have these kind of large button cutouts that look aluminum, but I think they're plastic. It does feel very tactile and nice to click and use in your hand. This is the Caseology Capella clear case, and overall it has 2 very nice features here that separate it from some of its competition. For one, the entire camera bump is going to be protected except for the actual camera lens and where the sensors are. So it's not just one big open piece, which means that metal or that aluminum is going to be protected. Then it also comes with textured side grips, so it's going to be easier to hold in the hand, but just remember the textured side grips are only going to be on the bottom of the phone. Now, along the corners, the bumper protection is pretty good. It's going to be in a micro dot material. So on the bumpers themselves, they're going to be micro dot. On the back cover, it's going to be crystal. There is a slight bump when you go run your fingers between the bumper and the back, but it's not severe and it's pretty soft, so it's not going to be catching on anything. I do like the crystal color of the Caseology, but to be totally honest, it comes down to the precise cutouts on the camera and the texture side grips. If we talk about fingerprints, it's not a fingerprint magnet though, so the fingerprinting is pretty good. It's pretty resistant for that. However, if you look at the volume buttons, even though they made them very clicky and they added the additional material so they protrude and easier to find, it's hard to tell what's up and down because the volume button is just one long piece. So it looks like there's going to be two buttons there, but actually it's just really one long button. If you just press the bottom of that button, it's going to press the lower volume. And if you press the top, it's going to press increase the volume. So I'm not in love with Caseology's logo being on the center bottom back as well as on the bumper because I like my cases clean, but that might not be an issue for everybody. So overall, this is a solid offering from Caseology. I wish it was a little bit more protective, but you can't discount the simple things like a texture side grip and just having a precise camera cutout.
Last on our list of cases is going to be the Spigen Ultra Hybrid. And this costs about $15.99, and this is one of the most popular clear cases you can get for your Google Pixel 8 Pro for good reason. So let's take it outside of the box and let's show you what you get. Here's an overall weight. The Spigen Ultra Hybrid weighs 37 grams. So what Spigen is really proud of is that the case itself only adds about 2 millimeters of thickness to the actual phone. But let's be honest, a lot of cases only add about 2 millimeters of thickness. So don't get too caught up in the advertising. What I think here is that it's just offering a solid value for $15.99. You're getting a clear case that is well constructed, that has the textured power button, so that's a good bonus. You have the air cushions on the sides here, so that's going to make it a little bit more drop protective, giving it military grade drop protection here. You have micro dotting on all of the bumper material. So all the TPU here is going to be with the micro dotting, and the polycarbonate is going to be crystal clear. So there is a little bit of that two-tone effect going on if you put it to the light and you're just like, okay, well, how come this is not as crystal clear as the back? You got to remember that exists. In terms of the buttons are clicky. In terms of fingerprinting, I think that the polycarbonate on the Spigen is one of the best at resisting fingerprints, and that's something that has pretty much been the case since the Google Pixel 5. And if you want to take a look why I like it, well, it goes into saying that I want to just also compare it, because this is my Google Pixel 7 Pro, and I've been using a Spigen Ultra Hybrid with my phone for just about a year, and you can see my case, it is pretty much gotten very dirty, and it's actually gotten pretty yellow. So I'm quite curious, is the new material, updated material on your Spigen Ultra Hybrid 8? As you can see on my 7 Pro case, it yellowed quite a bit. So the question is my 8 gonna yellow or not? Now, I'm not saying that your 8 case is gonna yellow, it's just that I know that my 7 case yellowed quite a bit.
So which case are you gonna pick for yourself or for someone else? Because remember, there are no wrong answers here. Just because one case is great for one person doesn't mean that case is gonna be great for you. For me personally, I'm still gonna be rocking the Google Pro case that you get from the Pixel store, and I'm gonna be rocking the Otterbox Symmetry just because I got a kid and I can't risk breaking my $1,000 phone on the floor. Now, one thing I did notice is that there's not a lot of great MagSafe options yet. I know we reviewed 2 here and we reviewed the mouse from the Google store, but I haven't seen a lot of MagSafe, so we're gonna see that coming into the Google line. I just think a lot of people on Google are just hesitant to accept or adopt the MagSafe just because it's from Apple. But other than that, the cases are getting better and better, and we've seen better cases with the Pixel 8, much better than on the Pixel 7 Pro, so I'm excited for what the future holds. And that's it, guys.
With that, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please leave it in that comment box below and hit that like or subscribe button because it really does help support our channel. And I'll catch you next time. This is Dave with the French Glow, showcasing to you all of the different Pixel 8 Pro cases we checked out for you. I'll see you next time. Bye, bye, bye.